Hey everyone, I hope you're all having a lovely time. We're gonna start the EMA very soon. Um, in the meantime, I hope you guys can bring your favorite drink, enjoy the session. Today we're having another strong GameFi project. I know the GameFi is recently hyped and the AI is like following up as well. So we'll see how it revolves around their project today. And another news that I would like to share before the start of the EMA that I'm gonna remind again is that today's session we're gonna give three whitelists to those people who post about their proof into our Discord channel as usual. I love you all and thank you very much. And we all pray that the Ethereum ETF is gonna be confirmed tomorrow. Well, who knows what it's gonna bring to the market for sure. So just wait kindly for the session start. Thank you. While the speaker is connected, can we have a quick mic test?
Test, 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 test. Can you guys hear me?
Very nice and clearly. Thank you very much. We're gonna start the session very soon. Please relax at the moment. Thank you. Okay, I believe we can have a slow start as we're starting the EMA. Hello everyone, Tiger Aspect here, and the core team part of the Royal Web3, aka your lovely Alpha family and the Web3 Alpha. Today we're having Shutdown, as I mentioned recently, for our lovely guests. They're making a very nice GameFi, and I'm quite interested personally. So I hope you guys will be enjoy the session as well. But before we get, I remind you again, do not forget to post picture of your proof in our Discord channel if you want to be eligible for the three whitelist spot that we're gonna give to the special listeners here. Thank you very much. So with that being said, can we have a self introduction from the speaker before we get into the EMA part? Like anything you would like to share with our lovely family and your connection with the project, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my name is Houston. I'm the CEO of the studio behind Shutdown. It's called Garage Studios. We've been working in Web3 for quite a while, started back in 2018. We've got a pretty awesome team of designers and developers, guys from Disney, Pixar, Amazon Studios, NetEase, Ubisoft. We've got quite a bit of experience in games across all different genres. But the games that we love, of course, is shooters. We love first-person shooters. We love top-down shooters. We're a big fan of ARPGs, and we've kind of combined the love of guns and gunplay and great graphics with, really addictive game loops that are heavily inspired by games like Diablo and Path of Exile. So, what Shutdown is it's a top-down shooter that is essentially a PVE. Co-op PVE focused game. Players run through really challenging dungeons and quests. Upon completion of those, they're able to earn items which can be minted on chain as NFTs. We see the minting process as sort of a Web 2 to Web 3 onboarding. So we really gamified that aspect of the game by giving players the ability to gain different stats and abilities on all of the items that they mint, and these are completely random. So minting the same gun twice, you're gonna have two completely different items as a result of that. And for the players, if you've ever played Path of Exile or you played Diablo 3, it's really about mixing and matching your build to create really potent combinations, right? These items will mix and match off of each other. The effects will be multiplicative, which you're going to need because the game gets very, very difficult in the end. And it's a mix of knowing how to play the game from a tactical standpoint, knowing how to move and how to utilize abilities at the right time, but also from like a strategic standpoint, knowing how the abilities and items and different stats work in combination with each other. Knowing both sides of these coins is going to give you the maximum effect in game. You can check us out. We're in open beta. Feel free to join the community. We're hosting game nights. Definitely have a pretty big focus on people playing the game. So if you're playing the game, we are looking to reward you in every way we can. So yeah, come join our Discord. I'm always on there. You can ping me, ping their mods, ping their team. We'll be quick to respond as well. So there's a little bit of our project, and I'll pass the mic back to you.
Thank you. That's a really nice and blaster start. Um, One question that I must ask, you already mentioned something, but before that, I really hats off for the achievements you guys have behind the project, behind the experience, and behind the team. But you're making a Web3 game right now, and for the Web3 gaming, it's a new genre, and there are many new things, and there are still things that we're exploring and seeing the possibilities. You already said that the end game of the game is gonna be very hard, but there are gonna be NFTs and the tokenomics in the game. So I want you to honestly answer from the founding team about this. Will the game will be fair to everyone, or people who will like own the NFT and the tokenomics will own the entire gaming ecosystem then?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I've had my fair share of experiences with pay to win in gaming. We're really trying to avoid that. Of course, there's always going to be advantages to people that hold NFTs. For example, the upcoming mint that we're doing with the mongrels. You guys are going to see a teaser for that very, very soon in the next week or so. Um, that's going to give you an advantage, right? And I think it's fair to reward the people who are early on with certain advantages, but it's not going to be completely game breaking. Luckily for us, we're not a PvP game, so just because you hold these NFTs, it gives you an advantage over harder challenges. But it doesn't mean that you're completely, invincible, or you can just walk through the map and take no damage. There are going to be small, minor gameplay adjustments that just basically grant you like different access to different play styles and abilities that you might not get when you're, let's say, just a free player. Everyone's going to be able to mint NFTs. Everyone's going to be able to explore all of the content in the game, and we've designed it in a way where doesn't limit your experience as in terms of rewards, in terms of what dungeons you can clear in Shutdown. What it really does is just amplifies your experience, if you will. It's like a nice little wine pairing to your steak dinner, but you still get the steak dinner. So that's the benefit there. And in terms of the future of Shutdown, these NFTs that we're creating, they're not just for Shutdown as a top-down game. Like we obviously, with gaming, it's very, very risky. Game launches, they don't always go 100% according to plan. A lot of the times, they don't go according to plan at all. And so we've really structured the studio and Shutdown itself to be a multi-genre, multi-platform, multi-game IP. And that means there's going to be future titles that are going to be released under the Shutdown branding, under the Shutdown universe that we're creating, that is going to have cross NFT, cross token utility, and really give players the absolute most utility and value that they're looking for. And this is the vision that we've always had from day one back in 2018. We always saw NFTs as something that should have cross compatibility between different games, between different platforms, in different use cases, and we're exploring that use case in our own studio. A little bit off tangent, but I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much for the honesty, and it's something that we need to accept in the current stage of gaming. And one thing that is really important that you already mentioned that it's not a PvP game. And secondly, there must be a reason and way to support the early believers of the project, especially in the Web3 for sure. So I believe with a team experienced in the game, like you guys have the played games, you guys have seen what makes people satisfied and dissatisfied, so the result will be better since you guys have the experience. So speaking of the experience, I want to speak about another thing is that you guys could make this game in the web to release it in, I don't know, some gaming platform, give some like a price for people to just buy. But why you guys decided to do this in the web 3 instead?
Yeah, that's a really good question. We were here before the hype was game for gaming in Web3 was here. Like I remember back in 2019, we went to GDC. We were one of the few games that were touting blockchain, and we had like this big TV screen where we had like blockchain meets gaming, and then like, I would say like probably 90-95% of everyone that walked by looked at it and just shook their heads and they said it's like, oh, that's dumb, or that's what the hell is that, and walked away. And then like 5% of people stuck around, and we had some really great conversations about it. And so for us, when we look at Web3 and the technologies and the possibility that it offers, we see it from a problem solution standpoint. Now, there's a couple of problems that Web3 does solve beyond the hype, beyond, hey, NFTs go up, tokens go up, where's my 1000x, right? Um, the real problems that it solves for gaming is that, well, number one, you have multiple like large digital economies in MMORPGs, in popular genres, like Eve Online, right? You have RuneScape, you have World of Warcraft, and I can keep going. The list goes on and on. And even in games where it's just cosmetics like CS:GO, you have a ton of these gray marketplaces that aren't official, that are extremely scammy and dangerous, where people are trading their rare skins, their rare items with each other for fire. And how they're doing this, they're doing it with PayPal. And when I was a kid, I used to play RuneScape. I grinded the crap out of RuneScape. And I used to have like, 10, 15 bots farming RuneScape gold, kind of like what people are doing with pixels now. And I would take the RuneScape gold that I made from these bots, and I would put it up on a player auction website called playerauctions.net, and literally 30% of my orders got charged back from PayPal. And PayPal would ask us, in this dispute process, they would ask us, well, where's the shipping? Where's the shipping code for this order? And like, it's a digital item. Of course, there's no shipping code. I met up manually with a guy on the Grand Exchange. And so, of course, there's nothing that we can do about it. And so we got scammed over and over and over again. Now, what Web3 does is it does two things. Number one, it standardizes the item across the board, so that when you build infrastructure, you only have to build it for one standard, right? And everyone knows it as 11, ERC 1155 or ERC 721. If you're building NFTs, if you're working with NFTs, it's either one of those two, right? And now you have this smart contract that facilitates also the transfer of payment. And everything's done on the same infrastructure layer instead of what it is in the Web2 space right now. Let's say you're trading CSGO skins, you meet up with someone on a player auction website, and then you have to go on Steam, which is a separate infrastructure layer, and then you make the transfer there. And so there's so much trust that you would need in the system. And how do people get around this? Well, they do it with user reviews, but some people have nothing to lose, and so there's always going to be scams. um in on OpenSea, that's literally impossible because the payment is escrowed, and the moment the payment gets delivered to you, you get the item. So you don't have to trust if that person's legit. You also don't have to trust whether or not this item is legit, because you have the proof of identity, the proof of whether something of authenticity, whether it's real or not, right? So these infrastructure enhancements and innovations in Web3 make player to player economies a possibility, in online games, in digital economies. And we look at these advancements and we say, okay, is it like, why don't developers in games in Web 2, where players obviously want to trade their items, why don't they encourage this behavior? Well, it's a catch 22 because number one, there's no infrastructure layer to support payments and and item transfers on the same level of abstraction. And number two, they don't really make any revenue from that, right? They at the end of the day, developers need to eat. And so what we have here is we have royalties, we have commissions, and that can be enforced through the sales contracts to the marketplace contracts. It's also enforced through the NFT contracts now. So we're doing so much that I think people are missing out on in Web 2. And for us as a studio, being forward facing, we want to create experiences that add this additional dimension of financial, of player to player, of actual financial immersion. I think this is the next dimension that's going to be added on to gaming. So there's a long, very long worded answer, but we're in it because the technology is empowering players and making innovations in the right way.
Thank you for the answer, and you're totally right. In the current stage of Web3, where the technology and the limit is only up to the people minds, it's about how much you can imagine. The limit of what Web3 sets up is all about the imagination, and you guys have an experience and connection with it, makes it a very, very nice way. Actually, yeah, we have a biggest problem in the Web 2 right now, if you ask me, is that the gaming is become so much paid. I'm an ex esport player. I played all kinds of games. I played a lot of games. Like I don't want to list, but right now, most of the online games right now, the problem is that with money you can solve everything inside the game. You can even make people play, and you can even control the market. And there's this black market, as you say. There's a trust issue, and there's a problem where it can destroy the balance and economy. But if it is controlled by the team in the NFTs and the tokenomics, the result can be really, really better. And speaking of which, what are the benefits of the NFT will be? And do we need NFT to be able to play the game, or is it just an extra?
Yeah, the game that we're designing is completely free to play, so you don't need any NFTs. You don't need anything really. It's going to be on Steam, so we're really going after a big Web 2 audience with this. Um, and the NFTs honestly only apply when you get to the late game. So because like people aren't going to be trading, beginner items, right? People are only going to be trading the items that are worth trading, that are powerful, that are unique, and these are going to be the late game items. So up until late game, like you won't touch any Web 3 at all. And even when you do touch it, we're working on different tooling. We're working with a bunch of different protocols and what's it called, account abstraction systems like IMX with their passport to make the process super, super simple for players. um, in terms of the gameplay itself, it's really meant to suck the players in, um, make get them addicted, get them to love the game first before any of this, before any of the NFT stuff even applies. So by the time they get to like the 50, 60 hour mark, that's when players are going to be starting to be introduced. And by that point, they're going to be a lot more open to these new things, right? And they're going to at least give it a shot because they've sunk quite a bit of time into the game already, versus if you just have it like as a big barrier to entry right in the beginning. So I'm personally not a big fan of doing that. If a game asks me to do that personally as well, even though I'm in Web 3, like if someone's like, oh, you need a wallet to play this game, like probably not. And then I usually don't bother playing with it. So yeah, that's kind of our personal experience, and that's the approach that we're taking as well.
There's some trivia I want to share with the community at this stage because this is really important, guys. Um, you have seen many, many Web3 games, but you cannot see most of the Web3 games in the Steam because Steam is the biggest gaming platform right now, and they don't accept Web3 games that easy. Like, it's really so many procedures and not easy to achieve. I just wanted to share. I don't know how you guys achieve this. I know this because I've been with many Web3 gaming projects as well. But that's really a good achievement. I believe it will do very, very well. And another matter is the tokenomics. How the tokenomics system is gonna affect the ecosystem that you guys are building with it.
Yeah, so I'll talk about Steam first. So on Steam, we plan to run basically a completely like Web 2 version of the game, and how that kind of works when it comes to Web 3 is essentially the Web 2 version is going to facilitate fiat payments for premium currency, and then all of the income that we earn from that fiat goes into a token buyback program. So that's kind of how we get around the Steam regulations. I believe it's going to change eventually. I don't know when, but I think they have to change it at some point. But just for what it is right now, it's going to be like a parallel sort of version of the game that's running. And the game is really meant as, again, an onboarding ramp for Web 2. So if you want to experience, the full-on feature set, right, we're happy to transfer all of your progress over to the Web 3 version, where now then they can start getting acquainted with NFTs, with IMX Passport, with all of these other different tooling that we have. And then on, sorry, and what was the second part of that question? Could you repeat that again?
Thank you very much for the answer so far. Is that how are the tokenomics are gonna influence the game and the details about it, like a supply or anything is confirmed yet?
Oh, okay, yeah. So in terms of tokenomics, you can think of the utility of the token as just a premium currency in Shutdown. And it's always going to be the same sort of utility in any other game that we release under Shutdown as well. So, in terms of the token split itself, I can't reveal that information as of yet, but I can tell you that the total supply is limited to 1 billion. The vast majority of tokens are actually allocated towards players, so being able to earn them in the game, because you're going to need to use them when you mint items, when you upgrade, when you buy certain rare abilities and loot, right? That's all going to use the premium currency. A big part of our design process has been tying that premium currency, tying that Web 3 token rather, into the most repetitive core loop within the game. So in other games, really like just Path of Exile is our biggest inspiration here. We've tied the utility of our token into item rerolls. So when you get an item, you mint it on chain, right? You can reroll the stats on that item if you don't like what they are, to basically be, try to like hit the maximum end of that curve in terms of stats. And we envision like players, similarly to Path of Exile, spamming the reroll button, and then every time they spam the reroll button, they're spending a tiny little bit of tokens. And so, because it's really small, right, it doesn't hurt your wallet that much, but it's super consistent and super rewarding and fun for the players to try to get for those max stats, to try to go for the best abilities that an item offers. And over a bigger player base, right? 100,000 or a million players, this becomes a super predictable and calculatable spend that really ties back into having sustainable token economics, supporting sort of the demand side pressure on the token as well when it comes to the token price, and also generating that demand from in-game action, which we can then control by releasing additional content, by releasing additional items, so on and so forth. So it gives us a lot of control over what's happening over the economy. And that's how we're planning things there.
That's really nice. As I mentioned before, once the market is controlled by the team, and if the team wants to make a real game, a real strong marketing and the ecosystem, I believe it's way better than players trying to control all the market and try to dominate. The result will be better for the gaming interesting people. And speaking of which, you guys have already releasing on Steam, which is gonna bring you a lot of Web2 people. But from the Web3 perspective, not all people have high spec computers or like a great phones. So is the game you guys are building gonna be friendly to everyone? Like, do you believe that any person, if they are not even like a gamer, will they be able to enjoy it, you think?
Yeah, so for Shutdown as a top-down shooter, unfortunately, the answer is no. We are trying to, make a splash in sort of the normal gaming space, and to do that, like you need to have decent looking visuals, which unfortunately requires I was gonna say credit card, but no, you need a credit card to buy a graphics card. So yeah, you're gonna have a decent machine. Um, Now, what we are aiming for in the future is uh, we believe there's an avenue that we can go down where we can create sort of like a resource management slash 4x strategy game that runs on browsers, right? And this is something that we've always wanted to explore. So probably after release, shut down a top-down shooter, get a few demos of our upcoming FPS out, right? Having the NFTs out there is also a plus. You'll be able to sort of manage, do like sort of it'll be more of like an idle hero game, where you can do everything on a browser, and that's going to be more accessible. But for our flagship titles, it is more for a gaming audience. So we're not focused on people who are, in the non-gaming crowd. You will need a decent machine, of course. A decent machine that can run Shutdown is like a 1050. If you guys know graphics cards, like an NVIDIA 1050, that's a card from literally almost 10 years ago. And that's a pretty low standard, in my opinion. I would say most people, if you just buy kind of any, low spec gaming PC that's like a modern low spec gaming PC that's come out in the past 2 years, you're going to be able to run Shutdown just fine, no problem. The game is really even optimized for like mobile devices. So if a phone can run it, like your PC should be able to run it, but you're gonna have to have some sort of graphics card to do it. I don't think integrated graphics card is going to give you a very smooth experience. Although if you're very resourceful and you really don't have it, I'm sure we could come up with some sort of ghetto solution to turn the game into Play-Doh, but at least you'll be able to play it. That's the ultimate caveat there.
Thank you very much. So far we haven't seen an AAA plus Web3 game that really pushes, like really push the specs of any computer or phone that's high. But for a game with a good visuals, I'm sure it definitely works, and I believe it will be still gonna be able to playable to some degree, and I'm sure the result will be good. And another thing I want to ask you honestly, what would you say to some people here if they're not interested in the gaming? Like they're not a gamer like some people, but they're Web3 users and they're investors. What would you say to those people if they are interested in the shutdown, or what would you say from an investing perspective for them?
Yeah, I would definitely point them to. Well, I would say number one, if you're going to invest in something, you should at least try the product. If you're not a gamer, I think that's okay. There's always a first game for everyone, and I believe Shutdown is something that's accessible and that's easy to get into in the beginning, and it has the depth of gameplay in the later stages to keep things interesting in the long run. So I would definitely recommend you to play the game. But if you're really adamant against it, I mean the NFT utility, right? If you believe in gaming being a big use case, if you believe gaming in just being a great onboarding ramp for regular people to get into Web3, I think you should take a serious look at what we're building, because we're building great experiences. Our whole game design is geared towards onboarding Web 2 to Web 3. This has been the mission of our studio for the past 6 years. And this is not the first project that we've done for Web 3. We're a very, very small team. The team that's building this is only about 11, 12 people. Most of them are part time. We're running a really low burn rate. I think for us personally, like looking at what else is out there in the space, I think we're punching well above our weight class. And, that just goes to the credit of of the amazing developers and designers that we have working for us. Everybody here is world class talent. We're all from the best studios in the world. We know the best workflows. We know how to get things done efficiently, on cost, on budget, and on time, right? So these are the factors that really matter in the long run. Of course, a lot of the Web3 space is driven off of hype and FOMO and token prices sort of leading the narrative. But I would invite you to really look at the fundamentals and try to see it from a Web2 perspective. Try to see it from a gamer's perspective, right? Which one of these games would they really play? Which one of these games would really attract a Web2 audience, or is even trying to attract the Web2 audience? I think if a game is like super focused on Web3, that's okay, but eventually you're going to have to onboard Web2 users eventually. And the games that are going to be able to do it first are going to really grab the attention of that narrative and be the market leaders. And that's what our strategy is with Shutdown. It's a longer term strategy. It's not going to be the most focused on degen plays, flipping NFTs and tokens. There is going to be opportunity for that, of course, but it's not the focus for us. The focus for us is on creating high quality, innovative products that are going to stand out, not just in Web3, but also in Web2, on Steam, on Epic, on app stores, etc.
Thank you very much. I believe it has been a really great session so far. And the most important question, I believe, related to all we have spoken so far is that, let's say I'm a listener here and I enjoy the session and project and I'm interested in the shutdown. What are the ways for me to connect with the project since it's still on the early release so far?
Yeah, so if you want to connect with us, definitely follow our Twitter. We're always posting the latest and greatest updates. You'll see it on our timeline first. You want to be a part of the community and earn rewards. We're very very active there as well. We host game nights. We do AMAs. We do a lot of things on our Discord. So those are the two main channels. Anything if you want alpha, pay attention to the work in progress on the work in progress channel on the Discord. That's where we post all of the behind the scenes and what's about to come next. Yeah, but I'm always around on Discord. I'm a little bit busy these days, but I try to respond to every ping I get. So if you want to ask me questions personally, feel free to just ping me on Discord. I'm an open book.
Thank you, and it's one of the main good things of Web3 is that the community can connect with the team directly, and we see this is a very very good result, especially in the game fight because community makes a game that they enjoy. Of course, it's gonna end very very good results. Thank you very much. These are the questions and interests that I prepared from our side, but we would love to hear some kind of alpha for our special listeners here so that they can feel really excited about your project. If you could share some. Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a free mint very, very soon. So stay tuned for that announcement. I believe it's dropping within the week or within the month at least. The NFTs in this free mint are going to give you very, very powerful gameplay abilities that are going to really enhance your gameplay. It's going to be limited, so it's for free. It's limited. We really want to just reward people that have participated in the community, that have given us that have played the game, given us great feedback on gameplay, on bugs. So stay tuned for that. These NFTs are also going to be the first NFTs that we implement in subsequent titles. Like I mentioned, we do have an FPS game in the works. Now, the announcement for that is upcoming. I can't tell you exactly when, but stay tuned. It's going to be on the same visual quality, if not better, as some of the flagship FPS titles. Man, I wish I could just release a video to you guys right now, but it is something that's coming. Maybe we could link up after this call, and I can show you guys like a little teaser behind the scenes. Maybe you can show that in your Discord community once you get the chance as an actual alpha, so that people, seeing is believing after all, right? So yeah, we've got so much planned. This team is really burning the midnight oil. We work literally around the clock, 24/7. We work on the weekends to make the stream possible. So I appreciate everyone coming here and supporting us and showing us the love. It means a lot for the development team, and it means a lot to me personally.
Thank you very much. I always like the founders who take their time to thanks the community itself, because I believe this makes it very very special to them. And I think we need more founders and view founders with this kind of view in the space as well. About the release, I'm sure our Discord will love it. We have a very very strong community in Discord. You will be crazy if you check out and see sometimes how crazy they get. It's really a strong point of our alpha, and I'm so enjoying it as well. Thanks to our lovely community, always that's it makes it better. With that being said, I believe this session covers everything so far. I personally connected with Shutdown recently, as I said before, guys, and I'm telling you, like release in the Steam for a Web3 game is a really big achievement. You cannot see it in every Web3 game. It's something that you guys need to consider on why these guys can be able to do it. And speaking of the free mint, we're giving three whitelist spots for this EMA session. Please do not forget to take a picture of your proof and post it in Discord channel so you can be eligible for that one. We always bring you these contents free, and you guys can enjoy it as long as you love Web3 as much as we do. About the personal request from the team, I hope that those part-time people in your team can become a full-time Web3 person and like focus your project more and more in the future as you guys grow. Thank you all. And with that being said, I wish you all a happy day, a happy morning, or happy night based on your time zone. Until the next CMA, in the meantime, check Shutdown, check what we're cooking in the Royale Web3. Thank you, and I love you all, and see you. Bye bye.
Thank you very much, guys. Hey, Tiger, check your DMs. I'm gonna DM you for some details there.
Thank you. Thank you.